Coming to you live from the Izzet Steam Maze on the plain of Ravnica, this is Tap Tap Concede. It felt appropriate.
I think so.
Izzet Steam Maze? Oh, yeah, pull that out of your face.
So much
Wait,
steam.
hold on. So hard to line this up.
Kathleen, for those listening, Kathleen is playing around with one of the pop screens on a different microphone.
We have an empty microphone there in order to commemorate the death of James.
Yes.
He will be missed a little bit.
He exploded violently.
Perfect.
When
Great. For those of you playing the home, for
when
those of
he
you not
ate too
playing
much
the home
taco
video
sauce.
game, it is now completely obscuring my face.
Okay, seriously, though, move that. All right, so, yes, James is not with us this week, but myself, Graham, and Kathleen, and Paul are still here.
Still sounds like it's you and Graham.
Yeah.
Myself, comma, Graham, comma. I have two
Where is that
personalities.
Graham guy? He's a jerk.
I have two personalities, myself and Graham. So, welcome to Tap Tap Concede. This week we're going to crack a pack. I've got some entertaining MTG trivia questions again, and we're going to talk a little bit about our Dragon's Maze pre-release.
So let's get straight to it. Crack that pack.
All right, so this is amongst many of the packs that we've been sent. This felt appropriate to me because, so the original Ravnica block, the acronym for the whole block is RGD, because it was Ravnica, Guild Pact, and Dissension. Mm-hmm. And the acronym for this block is RGD.
Right.
Which
Ravnica,
is
Gate Crash,
Return to Ravnica, Gate Crash, and Dragon's Maze. And so I thought that
It just seems confusing.
I thought that since the D in the Return to Ravnica block just came out, we would look at the D of the original block.
Oh,
so this
Dissension.
Is
I
a
love
pack.
Dissension.
This is a pack of Dissension.
Oh, sweet.
No, it isn't.
What guilds were in Dissension?
So yeah, because originally in the first Ravnica block, 4 of the 10 guilds were in. It was a big set.
4, and 3.
Yeah, no, 4-3-3.
4-3-3.
Yeah, because it was a big set, a small set, and a small set.
I can math.
And so it was 4 guilds, and then 3 guilds, and then 3
I
guilds.
can never quite I can never quite remember who's in Guild Pact and who's in Dissension. And I know I love this block, but I can never quite remember what guilds are in it. So I guess that makes me a total scrub.
Harder booster to open them before. All right.
I feel like the time of Dissension probably really sucked in Ravnica. Everyone was just, no, I don't want to do that. No.
Yes.
Never.
No. Yes.
Oh, I think
no,
I remember
never.
why I love Dissension now. I can see the first card.
All right.
Let's roll.
It's one of the so-called Karoo lands. It is the Rakdos Carnarium.
That's why I love Dissension, because it's the Rakdos block.
You got to get closer to the mic. You're too
That's
far
why
away.
I love Dissension. It's the Rakdos
Don't
block.
yell into it.
The
Come on.
Rakdos
Like you've never done this before.
Carnarium.
I'm trying to
Carnarium,
Carnarium. What is a carnarium?
an evil circus.
basically.
It's like a combination between a carnival and a sanitarium.
Yeah. If you're wondering why these are called Karoo lands, could you look up Karoo briefly? So every one of these lands, there was a whole cycle of these. There was a whole cycle of these lands in Ravnica. So Karoo is a card from Visions originally that it enters the battlefield tapped, and when it enters the battlefield, you have to return an untapped planes you control to your hand. But then when you tap Karoo, you get 2 mana. So all these lands do exactly the same thing. They enter tapped, and you have to return a land to your hand, but you get 2 mana when you do it. Now, Karoo, it had to be an untapped land, but all these Ravnica ones, as you can see, you were able to do any land. So you could tap that land and then play it. So on turn 2, or I guess, no, on turn 3, you can tap both the lands you've already played, play a 2-drop, then play this thing, and return one of those, and then on your next turn you've got 5 mana on turn 4 instead of just 4 mana. So
yeah, of course.
they were fun.
It's sort of like juggling the logistics of I do have to return a land to my hand and stuff like that, and like do I want to leave stuff up for instants and sorcery or instants, and like surprise tricks means that trying to figure out when you want to play these for optimum mana curve can be kind of complicated.
Yeah. Also in Dissension was the Simic, as indicated here with the Cytospawn Shambler. It's CYTO. Cytospawn Shambler. So this has this was a creature for 6 and a green, and it had the Simic ability of Graft, which is it enters the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters on it, and whenever another creature comes into play, you can move a +1/+1 counter from this creature to that creature. So this is a 0/0, but it has Graft 6, so it comes in with 6 +1/+1 counters. And for 1 green, target creature with a counter gains trample until end of turn.
That seems good.
Graft seems
The trample.
Graft seems inelegant.
Graft is inelegant.
Yeah, I like Evolve much better.
I think everybody does.
Now there's also very interesting interactions between Graft and Evolve.
Yeah.
And Graft and a bunch of the stuff that's come out lately for Simic. So
Yeah. What I don't care much about Graft, but I love the idea of just leave 1 green up and target a creature you control gains trample. That makes deciding blocks all sorts of crap for your opponent.
Speaking of old Ravnica abilities and new Ravnica abilities, this interacts very strangely with Unleash.
Oh, yeah, so right.
Your opponent can play an unleashed creature or an unleashed creature, leave it leashed, but when it enters the battlefield, you can choose to put a +1/+1 counter on it so that it can't block. Because it's not your control.
It's not your control.
Any creature. It's kind of interesting. Next up is the Helium Squirter, another Simic card. And it's a 0/0 for 4 and a blue, and it has Graft 3, so it comes in as a 3/3.
Helium Squirter. That's just gross.
And for 1 colorless, target creature with a +1/+1 counter on it gains flying until end of turn. Next up is Karome, which is a white card for 1 and a white. It is an instant. The next 1 damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn.
Karome?
Yeah.
With a C? Or?
Yes, with a C. As in, like, it karomed off of something. It's not a common word, but it's a common card.
I've always heard that as Karoom.
Yeah, I've heard of that as Karoom.
Maybe it's Karoom. All right. Anyway, the next 1 damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn is dealt to another creature instead and draw a card, so it cantrips you, which is
the only good part of that
that
card, to be honest with
makes it
you.
a little bit more playable.
Oh, it's only the next one. If it was all damage dealt to target creature is dealt to another creature, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
I would not run that card.
Seal of Fire. Okay, so this is one of the seals was another cycle of enchantments that they were like an existing ability that like they already existed as a use the Dissension art. They were an existing ability, like an existing card in enchantment form. So it's a shock basically. Like it's a 1 mana red enchantment that you play out, and you can sacrifice it to deal 2 damage to target creature or player. So at instant speed, you can deal 2 damage to target creature or player, just like a shock, but
it's just sitting there, though.
It's sort of banked.
Yeah,
so you can do it when you're tapped out, but they know it's coming.
That sucks.
So I believe there's also a green one that does giant growth, and there's I said, there's a cycle of these seals.
It takes all the trickiness out of it.
Yeah, but it means they have to play around it because they know it's coming.
Right.
So.
Right.
Entropic Eidolon, or Eidolon. I think it's Eidolon. Anyway, it's a 2/2 for 3 and a black. For 1 black and sacrifice it, target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And whenever you play a multicolored spell, you may return Entropic Eidolon from your graveyard to your hand.
That could be super annoying.
Taste for Mayhem is next. It is a creature enchantment for 1 red. The enchanted creature gets +2/+0. And it has Hellbent, which is the Rakdos mechanic.
Yeah, the original Rakdos mechanic.
Was not very good.
No.
Hellbent is... Hellbent things activate if you have no cards left in your hand. So this is... The enchanted creature gets an additional +2/+0 as long as you have no cards in your hand. Now, red decks run... they run out of gas. They... you get into top deck mode pretty easily with red decks, but...
But it's a bad situation to be in, and having your cards get a minor upside doesn't make it a better situation.
Correct.
Well, there's that new zombie, or the new guy.
The Blood Scrivener.
If
The
you
Blood
would draw
Scrivener.
0, draw 2, lose 1 life.
Yeah.
That guy is dope.
Which is so he would be perfect for a Hellbent deck.
No, because you want to have no cards in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So every turn you have no cards in hand, draw 2 cards, play those 2 cards.
Yeah.
Well, except sometimes you can't do that.
Oh.
I mean, the point is, if you're running a Rakdos deck with that kind of stuff in it.
Yeah, but I think the thing is that it's better to be top decking in that situation because your guys get all this bonus. But
This is an interesting one. Street Savvy. It's a green creature enchantment for 1 green. Enchanted creature gets +0/+2 and can block creatures with land walk abilities as if they didn't have those abilities.
Oh, we still haven't seen the 3rd guild
Wow.
in this set.
So we got Rakdos, we got Simic.
Yeah.
And we don't know quite what the other one is.
I'm sure it'll come up, but
Is
not
it
yet
Orzhov?
because we've got the Vigian Hydropon, which you can probably guess what what guild that belongs to.
Boros.
It is a 0/0 for 1 green blue with graft 5, but it can't attack or block.
Oh, so it just exists to get graft
To
counters
put
out
counters
there.
onto other creatures. It's just a little...
So it's basically like what's that? There's an enchantment or something that's just like creatures get +1/+1 when they come into play. Like that's basically all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Except it only lasts for 5 turns.
Yeah, you can give 5 creatures plus... It's like a little dispenser.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the on Gatherer, one of the rulings is even though the creature cannot attack, it doesn't have defender. It's just it can't attack or block. But it's not actually a defender.
So if something says it loses defender, it still can't attack
Still
or block.
can't attack. No.
That's nice.
Beacon Hawk. It is a 1/1 flyer for 1 and a white. Whenever Beacon Hawk deals combat damage to a player, you may untap target creature. And for 1 white, Beacon Hawk gets butt breathing.
Nice.
+0/+1 until end of turn, which we call butt breathing.
I imagine a beacon hawk would just like it would be so annoying because it would just be going like whoop 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 all the time. It's like, why did we bring that thing?
Wow, what a terrible guy. I don't like that card.
Ooh, the
What?
enemy
No, so
Beacon
1/1
hawk?
for 2 that
flies and yeah,
can
it blocks.
I don't know, but nowadays you
It
can
blocks
get a
well.
1/2 flyer for 2 as well, right?
Yeah, but that's a cool ability.
and you can untap a guy. That's
Yeah.
not so bad.
Enemy of the Guild Pact. I've heard of this guy. He's 4 and a black for a 4/2 spirit, and he has protection from multicolored.
That seems very good. Maybe not as good in this set, but good.
So you know what he can't be affected by? Is our first uncommon, the Azorius Guild Mage.
Oh, it was the Azorius.
Yes. So all the cycle of Guild Mages in the first Ravnica block were all hybrid cards. So the Azorius Guild Mage is a 2/2 for Azorius, or the white-blue hybrid mana. For 2 and a white, tap target creature. And for 2 and a blue, counter target activated ability.
That's super good.
Wow. Target activated ability.
Countering activated abilities always seems so janky to me.
Yeah.
Like it just seems weird and wrong.
I think this is my pick right now for that pack.
Next up is Ignorant Bliss.
That seems like a Rakdos card.
It's an instant for 1 and a red. Remove all cards in your hand from the game face down. At end of turn, return those cards to your hand, then draw a card. So you know that activates.
Hellbent.
Hellbent.
Interesting.
And then you get all your cards back, and you draw a card.
So it replaces itself.
And if you could just do that at the end of the turn, and so you immediately... Oh, that's interesting.
Psychic Possession is our rare. It is a blue enchantment. Very interesting. So it's 2 blue, enchant opponent. Skip your draw step. It's your draw step. Whenever enchanted opponent draws a card, you may draw a card.
How many uncommons are in this? I only count 2.
The third uncommon is a foil.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Never
mind.
So it just makes it so your draw step and his draw step are the same.
But if they draw...
I guess if they're doing some sort of fancy thing where they end up drawing more cards, you can be like, I want those cards too.
Sideboard tech.
I guess.
That seems weird.
Now, is drawing a card on the other guy's turn better than drawing it on your own turn?
No.
I don't think so. Maybe? I don't know.
I mean, I guess it means that you could theoretically draw some answer to his stat, like you could draw a counter or something.
I'm sure there's some terrible deck surrounding that card. All right. And the last one, which is a really cool-looking foil, is the Flamekin War Scout. Flame-kin. It is a 2/4 for 3 and a red. Whenever another creature comes into play, sacrifice Flamekin War Scout. If you do, Flamekin War Scout deals 4 damage to that creature. So basically, the next creature that they play, or that you play, next creature that they play,
it is extremely unstable.
Is going to die unless it's got 5 or more toughness.
Oh, I see. This is Boros. The forward Flamekin are popping. We have incoming.
The forward Flamekin.
So they're basically like mines that are just out in the front of the...
Yeah.
They're moving mines.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I like that.
Weird. So yeah, I think out of this pack, I'd probably take the Azorius Guildmage.
Me too.
Just because tapping a creature down is really relevant and limited.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he seems fun.
And occasionally, someone's got some sort of horrible bomb with an activated ability, and you're like, no.
Yeah.
And if worst comes to worst, it's a 2/2 for 2. Bears.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that most activated abilities, they do them and then they can just, you counter it and they just do it again, right? Unless it requires a whole ton of mana.
Yeah. All right. Got something fun here. So sadly, James isn't here for me to inflict this upon. But we haven't done Magic trivia in a few episodes, and I got an email from listener viewer by the name of Crimson with a bunch of interesting MTG facts, and I thought I would turn a couple of them into a trivia question. So last time we were talking about the great re-oracling of creature types,
Yes.
where they went back through and
If it doesn't have a bow, it's an archer.
yeah, and how some things got changed to some things to creature types that were relevant, some got changed to subtypes that weren't relevant. Like for example, the one that I was talking about last time, Seton Scout, which is the Scout Centaur Warrior Archer. I don't believe there's any card that interacts with scouts specifically, so sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. But there are, I should have formatted this better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 creature subtypes that only exist on one card each. Can you name any of them?
Any of them.
Not uncards.
Yeah, not.
Okay,
yes.
darn.
No, they do not count uncards. On real actual Magic cards, there are 9 creature types that only
Dwarf?
only appear on one card. Nope, there's lots of dwarves.
Oh, I don't see
Is
that
this
one very
this like actually appearing on the card or in the Oracle?
Some both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Squirrel?
Nope.
There's more, or maybe there aren't actually any squirrels.
I don't believe there's any squirrel creatures. There are squirrel tokens, though.
Right, they do create squirrels.
Goat?
Again.
I think
Like, I know things make goat tokens.
There's the goat, and there's the goat napper.
there's actually
Yeah.
well, goat napper's a goblin, but I think I think there's actually a couple goats.
Okay.
The main use for goat napper was capturing shapeshifters or changelings.
Yeah.
Changelings, which are every creature type all at once.
Yeah.
They also do not count towards this.
Wow.
I don't know. I mean, like, I could sit here for a while, but...
All right. I bet you there's one that you'll remember. Brushwag.
Brushwag is his own thing?
Yeah. So if you look
there's going to be tons of stuff
so
from
I've
Shadowborn Eventide.
I've minimized a window there on the screen for you. It's the left-hand window. So the list is Sponge. Actually, could you just scroll up a little bit? Sponge, Brushwag, Ferret,
Oh, of course.
Hippogriff, Nautilus, Oyster, Sheep, Starfish, Wombat, and Anteater. Only appear on one card each.
Nice. So I have a Brushwag, I have a Ferret.
You want to throw the
I have
Brushwag
a
up on the thing there? So the Brushwag is, of course, from the card Brushwag, which originally, when it came out in Mirage, said Summon Brushwag. And when they were going through doing the Oracle, they were just like...
What the hell is this?
It's
still a Brushwag.
It's a Brushwag. There's only one sheep, and this I find fascinating. It is an artifact creature from original Mirrodin called the Rust Spore Ram. That when it originally came out, it just said artifact creature.
Because artifact creatures didn't have types.
Yeah, but so if you look at the card there, if you want to throw the ram up, I guess you'll have to change the width of that window. Yeah. The Rust Spore Ram, it just says artifact creature, but it's been oracled that it is artifact creature sheep, and it is the only sheep card in all of Magic.
Why couldn't they just say artifact creature beast?
I don't know. Why is Brushwag a Brushwag? Like, I think it's just something that they did for fun. Mm-hmm. Interestingly, there's griffins, but the only hippogriff was printed quite recently. Like, most of these cards have the old card frame. The only ones that don't is this one, the Rust Spore Ram, and the Razor Hippogriff, which was printed in Scars of Mirrodin, and it's the only hippogriff.
What is a hippogriff as opposed to a griffin?
It's
got a different body, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got the body of like a lion, doesn't it?
No, that's a griffin. I thought. Body of a horse?
No, because it's got paws. I don't know.
Anyway.
That's okay. What's the next trivia question? Moving on.
Well, the next one's related.
Okay.
Which is, by the way, just briefly, if you go back to the page with the group of them on, I just wanted to just quickly just mention.
Spiny starfish I had.
Yeah, so spiny starfish is the only starfish. Walking sponge is the only sponge.
Oh man, I know. I wish there was a sponge tribal.
Sponge tribal, yeah.
That'd be sweet.
And let's just quickly go through the other ones. Raging wombat is, of course, rabid wombat is, of course, the only wombat. Prowling pangolin is the only anteater. Not actually creature type pangolin, and I don't know why, because a pangolin is a thing, and it's definitely not an anteater.
And if they were
gonna make it the only creature type, the only card with that creature type, why they didn't make it pangolin, I don't know.
And he was already a beast, which is a totally valid creature type.
Yeah. Joven's ferrets, of course, is the only ferret. The oyster card is I can't actually read that. Is right, giant oyster.
Yeah.
If you want to pop that one up, and then the only nautilus is the clambred nautilus. It's not clambred, is it?
Chambered nautilus.
Chambered nautilus.
Clambred nautilus.
I don't know. It's very small text.
I know. Just a sec. I like the ferrets. So if declared as an attacker, Joven's ferrets gets +0/+2 till end of turn. At the end of combat, tap any creatures blocked by them. These creatures do not untap during their next controller's untap phase.
Or that blocked them?
That blocked them.
Yeah.
Because they're playing with the cute ferrets. Like they become 1/3 ferrets, and then someone just spends an entire round with like ferrets running over.
Just crawling all over them.
Yeah, just for fun.
And they're just like, oh my god.
Because like they aren't monstrous ferrets; they're just ferrets.
They're just ferrets. Chances are you just wouldn't block them, and you would just take the 1 damage.
Probably.
Yeah. All right.
Some equipment on that thing and
boom.
Yeah. Put like a sword on it. That should be in the cube.
All right.
They should really put it in the
talk to
cube.
James. It says cube.
No. In the Magic Online cube.
Oh.
Joven's ferrets isn't uncommon actually, so it can't go in James's pauper cube.
Oh. All right.
The next question is related. There are 3 creature types that appear on 2 cards.
Oh god. Octopus?
Nope.
Squid?
Nope. 2 of them are real-world animals.
Oh.
Badger.
Nope.
Rhino?
Nope.
Oh no, there's so many rhinos. What am I thinking?
Bunch of rhinos.
Lion?
Nope. All lions are cats in Magic.
Oh, well, before they did that, right?
No, this is as of now.
Oh, as of now.
Yeah.
Kithkin?
Nope. Tons of Kithkin.
They were like a tribe.
All up in Overshadow.
Oh, right, yeah, they were.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
All right. One of them is hippo.
Oh, right, because there's just the 2 Feltigriffs.
The Feldigriff and the questing Feldigriff.
Yeah.
One of them is camel, because the cards camel and a card called the something dromad from original Ravnica block, as in like a dromedary.
Mm-hmm.
This is in another window, by the way. And a rigger. Now you remember Goblin Rigger from Future Sight, or sorry, the Steam Flogger boss, the Goblin Rigger. So at the time he was the only rigger, but then when they did the Oracle changes, there was a card called Moriok Rigger from original Mirrodin block that at the time was a human rogue, but they were like, well, we have this creature type rigger, and it says rigger in the name, so I guess it's a rigger now. That's that guy there, the
black guy.
Yeah, the black creature on the
By
left.
the way, I like Razor Hippogriff.
Shows up under the hippo search, yeah.
Actually, no, it totally wasn't the Feltigriff.
No, I realized that as soon as you brought that up. It's not the Feldigriffs. Feldigriffs are creature type Feldigriff, and I can't believe that I forgot that.
And there's also only 2 of them, isn't there?
You'd think that would show up, yeah. So maybe I'm going from what I was. I guess I can't speak to the complete veracity of this, but it seemed pretty legit. But yeah, the bull hippo, is a 3/3 island walk, and the other one is the pygmy hippo
I remember this guy.
from Visions, who's a 2/2 for green and a blue, and it's if he attacks and is not blocked, you may choose to have it deal no combat damage this turn. If you do, defending player draws all mana from his or her lands, and then his or her mana pool is emptied. After combat, add an equal amount of colorless mana to your mana pool.
It's kind of interesting.
That's kind of powerful,
So
actually.
it just drains you for all your mana, and then your opponent gets it.
Yeah, and then of course, original Camel is immune to damage done by deserts.
Boom.
Because desert was a land that hurt creatures.
And
0/1.
There's this one, which
Dromad purebred.
is pretty obviously a llama, not a
camel. Yeah. Or, well, I guess a dromedary, because it says dromad.
But
Yeah,
The difference between
dromedaries are.
that's
They don't
one
look
hump
like that.
versus 2 humps.
Yeah.
That
So-
still is not a
It
camel.
still looks like a llama.
It's
yeah.
not a dromedary either. It's a camel. It's a llama.
Yeah. So if we've missed anything of creature types that only appear on 1 or 2 cards, please let us know in the comments, because this I find this sort of thing really interesting. Something else which I'm not going to bother turning into a question, but that was also in this thing was there's some subtypes that are unique to tokens, such as Deserter, which is generated by the
Citizen.
I don't think Citizen's not, or I'm not. I don't know. But anyway, this one. Deserter is generated by the Keldoran Home Guard whenever it's involved in combat.
Yes.
And then, now this is interesting. Sand.
Sand tokens?
Well, so there is a Sand Warrior creature token that I don't recall the card that makes it, but because the rules state that every subtype is only one word and only one word, the Sand Warrior tokens means that sand is a subtype.
They are both the sand and the warrior subtype.
Yeah.
They're not
Interesting.
sand warriors.
They need a underscore or a hyphen.
Mm-hmm. Which is interesting because I saw another instance, I can't remember what it was, of the thing that they were... actually, I can get to that momentarily. Also, Coward is its own subtype. You remember we ran into that? The card that made things into cowards? So...
I like there's deserters and cowards.
So here's the thing. How many subtypes can you think of for land?
Oh, lots.
There's not actually that many.
What do you mean? So like
Well, I mean,
Subtypes. So the super types of land are basic and legendary,
Yeah.
and I think
And then-
that's it. Oh, there's basic and
then-
legendary, and then I think just land.
and then subtypes are the 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the obvious subtypes are plains, islands, swamp, mountain, and forest.
There's
Artifact land.
Nope.
locust.
That's a super type. Locust is correct. So gate,
Right.
for example, is a
Mhm.
subtype.
Trying to think of other cycles of land.
I'll give you another one. We were just talking about desert is its own subtype.
Oh, really?
Snow-covered land, obviously.
No,
Snow-covered.
snow-covered is a super type.
What?
Yeah, it's snow-covered.
Plains.
Plains,
Whatever.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, okay, subtypes and supertypes. Good grief.
Yeah. So wow, that's a fancy one. Look at the original desert from Arabian Nights. There we go.
I wonder why they changed it to land desert rather than just land.
I don't know.
Because just having
because it had to be because camel is immune to damage from desert.
yeah.
So they had to retain that it was desert.
But can they just go off the name?
From the name I guess. I don't know. Maybe it must be something in the way that the rules are worded. Also is the lairs,
Oh, right. Yeah.
which are the enemy colored lands that require you to bounce a non-layer when they enter play. And then, and I did not know this, the Urzatron have their own subtypes. Urza's Mine, Urza's Power Plant, and Urza's Tower.
Is a mine, a power plant, and a tower?
And they are also Urzas.
Oh, it's like summon Urza's mine or land Urza's mine.
Yeah, the actual there's a subtype that is actually Urza's possessive. Only for those lands because it checks, if you control these lands and because each subtype has to be one word, which is why the card is Urza's Power Plant, but the subtype hyphenates Power Plant. So that it's
what happens when you retcon stuff.
yeah. So it's Urza's Mine, Urza's Tower, and Urza's Power Plant. but power plant is hyphenated in the subtype, but not the card name, because otherwise it would be power and plant would be their own, and then you'd have like land plant, which would be weird. So
Plant land.
anyway, I thought that was some entertaining trivia. So thank you Crimson for sending that in. I thought that was
Tons of fun.
neat to read. Speaking of tons of fun,
Here we go. This is
Very, very quickly, let's talk about the Dragon's Maze pre-release, Graham.
yes, Kathleen, how did you enjoy your Dragon's Maze pre-release?
Well-
Please give us a pre-release report of your Dragon's Maze
Well, I
pre-release.
signed up to go Rakdos, and I was very lucky in that my partner guild, my secret ally for that was Boros,
Ooh,
which gave me an Assemble the Legion, which despite being in a 40 card deck and despite me playing 5 rounds of Magic, I did not pull out of my deck once, which is kind of like annoying, but whatever.
because some of the Legion's so hard to beat in sealed.
It's so good, and I was like, I just gotta draw it. I was playing a pretty much a very tame red, white, black deck, but I was splashing 1 Dimir Guildgate and 1 Island for pure value because I pulled a Ral Zarek. I also,
nice.
And he put in work, right?
yeah, he was a removal magnet, but he came out and I almost always lightning bolted something because because he probably wasn't going to be sticking around that much. But getting 1 lightning bolt out, just like unconditional removal in Dragon's Maze, is very good. And I had an ultimate price, which actually was not that good. Because it's destroy target monocolor creature. Lots of multicolored creatures going around today, or at the pre-release. Anyhow, so all my games were over incredibly fast. I lost my first game in a Rakdos mirror match. I lost my second game to a super grindy Orzhov deck. The guy had that Orzhov rare that gives all your guys extort, and so he's just like extorting for 4 turns.
Oh, the Pontiff of Blight?
Yeah, I was getting like 4 extort triggers a
That
turn.
guy seems like a complete bomb.
Yeah, he's a huge bomb in this format because you can't attack into him profitably. And like I was just like, obviously Rakdos Boros little guys turn them sideways, right? And I was like, well, I'll drop as soon as I'm out of prizes. But you only needed 2 wins to prize, and then I won my next 3 games in a row. But I like playing at pre-releases, and you should consider it because pre-releases are literally a comedy of errors because you have players on both sides going, oh, that guy's first strike. I would not have declared attackers. Oh well, whatever. Dumb move, but and just like.
Lots of people.
That card is not how I thought it worked, and
Yeah,
it's
well,
it's very low stakes.
I have a funny story relating to that
I have
interaction almost specifically.
in my 5th round against my friend Matthew. So we worked it out amongst ourselves and did not call the judge. In my 5th round, we were playing, and I forgot one of my guys had to attack every turn. And then he was like, "Oh, well, I wouldn't have blocked that guy. I would have blocked that guy then." And it changed how he divvied up his blockers. I was like, "All right, fine. We'll go backwards. We'll say you change the blockers. Your guys are going to come out of the graveyard. I'm still going to play this combat trick."
Yeah. Well, you can do that at pre-release because pre-releases are casual rules enforcement.
Yeah.
They're meant to be they're meant to be just, you're allowed to make mistakes basically.
Yeah, and then the next game, and then the next turn he played Borborygmos, which I immediately got rid of. I angelic edicted
Yep.
it to take 5. I made an edict for it, and then I realized after I'd gotten rid of it, to take 6, we had done 2 mistakes. One, I had forgotten it's every player loses 6 life, not just me.
Rurik Thar.
Yeah, Rurik Thar, sorry. Or whatever. Yeah, did I say Borborygmos?
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant Rurik Thar. It's every player takes 6 damage, not just me, and he cast it for 1 less than he should have. So it was like, just these games were a complete shit show. But you can do that at a pre-release, and people are like, whatever, because you're learning the cards.
It's not every player takes damage, it's whoever casts the spell.
Yeah.
But including the controller of Rurik Thar.
Yeah, but then Matthew was just like, and then pumped this guy, and I was like, God damn it, and then I forgot that
he should take 6 damage from
that he
too.
should take 6 damage for it too. So it was a disaster, but it was a fun disaster.
Yeah. So I chose Boros, actually hoping to get Rakdos as my ally, but I ended up getting Azorius. So I am the law. I make the laws and I enforce the laws. I am Azorios.
Yeah.
Or Borzorius?
Yes.
Sure. Anyway. So yeah, I was pretty pleased with how my deck came together. The amusing interaction that I mentioned was I attacked with the goblin whose name escapes me for the time being. He's the I think he's the Riot Piker. Does that sound familiar?
The 2/1 haste has to attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, could you bring that guy up? So I attacked with the Riot Piker, and a assault griffin. And in my graveyard, from a previous blood rushing...
2/1 first strike has to attack.
Yes, sorry. From a previous blood rushing, I had the Pyrewild Shaman. Now, this guy's great. So the Pyrewild Shaman, he's a 3/1. If you use his Blood Rush, which is 1 and a red, you can give something +3/+1. And if a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, and this guy is in your graveyard, you can pay 3 and return him to your hand. So what happened was I attacked with the Riot Piker and the Assault Griffin, and he said, I don't block. And I went, okay. The Riot Piker does his first strike damage to you, and you take 2. I pay 3 and return the Pyrewild Shaman to my hand, and then I Blood Rush the Shaman onto the Assault Griffin, making the Griffin a 6/4, 6/3. And then you take a further 6 damage in the air. And he was like, can you do that? And we asked the judge who was sitting near us, and the judge said, you absolutely can. And so, yeah, that was a lot of fun. If you have, because remember, that is
the first strike phase is an entirely separate phase.
Yeah, that is a distinct thing, that the first strike damage happens, and then there can be further effects.
Yeah.
So it worked out really, really well.
So when you blood rush a creature, does it go to the graveyard before damage is dealt?
It's part of the cost, yeah. It's
okay.
So yeah, you discard it as part of the cost.
Okay, so basically I could Pyrewild Shaman a creature that's attacking.
If you had,
it does damage.
If you had 7 mana open, you could, in that same scenario, you could attack, and then he says no blocks, Blood Rush onto the Piker, and have it deal 5, and then afterwards pay to return the Shaman to your hand and Blood Rush it again onto the Griffin, and then have the Griffin deal 6. Yeah.
It'd be a lot of mana, but...
It's important to notice, and this is something...
It's a slow format, though, so it's not inconceivable.
This is something that was really helpful when learning sort of how, like, what happens to cards and things like this, is the colon. And I know
I love the colon.
I know that sounds funny, but you got to pay attention to the colon.
Get up in there.
Which is, if you look at the rules text...
Get up in that colon.
If you look at the rules text on Pyrewild Shaman, it says 1 and a red, discard Pyrewild Shaman, colon, and then the thing. Meaning everything to the left of the colon is the cost to do that. And this comes up when you have to sacrifice a creature, when it's like, pay 2, sacrifice a creature, colon, this thing happens. Meaning that whether or not that spell gets countered or before its effects happen, like when you cast it, like it's on the stack, all you've done is cast it, everything to the left of the colon has already happened. So you have already sacrificed that creature, or in this case, you have already discarded the shaman. So, now they can't actually counter Blood Rush because it's an ability, not a spell, unless they have the Azorius Guildmage. But as soon as that ability goes on the stack, the shaman is already in your graveyard because it's part of the cost.
Yeah, so that's the costs get paid immediate. Like this costs don't even go on the stack.
Yeah, costs get paid immediately, and it doesn't matter whether or not whether or not the thing resolves or gets countered or whatever, the cost still happens. So that's why when you have to, when you declare something as a blocker and then sacrifice it, it's gone. So it doesn't, the block still happens, but your guy doesn't get to deal combat damage because he's gone. And this is why when we did that crap shot about bolting Jace, the Mind Sculptor, right? That when you play a Planeswalker, and then you plus it, if they have an instant speed thing, like if they have instant speed burn damage to try and kill the Planeswalker,
because Planeswalker abilities are
sorcery speed.
Yeah, but
adding counters is part of the cost.
Mm-hmm.
So that happens immediately and doesn't go on the stack. So the extra counters go on the Planeswalker whether or not they respond to the ability with an instant. So
is there any card where this might be good for people to look up, that where the cost and the effect are very similar, if not the same? If it's like, discard a card, discard a card. So one has to be done as the cost, and then theoretically the second half of it could be countered or something.
I don't know. That could be very interesting.
Anyway.
We'll have to have
show us your entertaining colons.
Yeah. We'll have to have an Ask a Judge podcast one of these days.
Well, we have a couple We have a couple level 2 judges in town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe
We
we
had
can
to
bring one of
ask
them
Judge all sorts of stupid questions. They'll be like, no, why would you do that?
around. Yeah.
That'd be the answer to almost all of the questions.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know. All right. I think we've got to wrap that up for this week, but hopefully you enjoyed that pack of Dissension and the trivia and such.
Yeah, it actually, like, they did that at least once. They did an actual tournament of Ravnica, whatever they call it.
This was at
Combined Ravnica.
This was at the Community Cup.
Yeah.
They did block constructed of Ravnica, Guildpact, Dissension, and Return to Ravnica.
Yeah, and like it seemed like, especially looking at that now, and I remember when Return to Ravnica came out, they talked about how the new guild mechanics were actually intentionally designed to interact with the old guild mechanics.
Yeah.
That would be very interesting to do a full sort of
Not
full
necessarily
Ravnica draft, or
not necessarily interact, but be synergistic with. Because
Yeah.
like Hellbent doesn't interact necessarily with Unleash, but it encourages you to just dump your creatures onto the table.
Yeah, I guess that's what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
They are complementary.
Yeah. So
Which, yeah, I guess is not the case in some situations, but in a lot of guys, in a lot of the guilds, they are, and that's what they tried to do.
Yeah.
So anyway,
all right. So thanks for joining us this week, and we will. It's you.
Weird scrapey noises provided by my glasses.
Good job.
Hooray.
Yes, thank you for joining us in Tap Tap Concede, and share with us in the forums on LoadingReadyRun.com if you have any entertaining card creature types that you've dug up, or weird card payment costs. We'd like to see it. So thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.